Are you ready? Welcome back. Stuart Baxter comes into the studio the day after he's announced the Bafana squad to take on Angola, Zimbabwe and Zambia in a Four Nations tournament and also begin the journey to the Africa Cup of Nations in 2019. So it couldn't be better timing. And the questions that I know you're sending already on the hashtag on Twitter, Ask Baxter, are going to be put to the coach in the next 15 minutes when we have this conversation. Coach, how are you?
Good, thanks, Thomas. You?
I'm good. But there's been so much over the last couple of days, newspaper articles, lots of things. I don't even know where to start, but let me just start with, are you earning R1 million a month?
No. Simple answer, no. I wish, yeah.
Because there was a story, right?
There was a story which I replied to. We invited some of the journos for a breakfast, and I actually said, look, you know, it's not a very smart thing to do, to write that on the one hand the coach is earning a fortune and on the other hand he's doing very little. You know, if you want to rile people, then you write something like that. No, I'm not. I'm doing a lot and I'm not getting paid anywhere near that. I wish, Thomas.
Not near?
Not near.
At all?
No, at all. No.
Very far from R1 million a month?
Very far.
Okay. No, because we just needed to check, Coach. We just needed to check. You know, it was written. Now, let's talk about maybe the fact that I've heard you speaking about radical transformation, new changes, things need to change. But then people will say it's still the same coach, still South Africa, still the same pool of players. What are you going to do that's different?
Well, if you look at the last... Well, if you go back in South African football history and go back until we won the African Cup of Nations and look at the things that we've been doing the same things over and over again, and we've been getting very similar results over and over again. And we get disappointed and we get angry and we criticise and then we repeat. So we've got to look at what we're doing and say, well, what elements of that can we change, and what does that mean? Does that mean we have to work on the coach education, the talent identification? Do we have to work tactically? Do the supporters have to change their mindset a little bit?
Can I interrupt you there, Coach?
Yeah,
because I think the one thing that everybody wants is just for the team to win, right?
Yeah.
Like, so how do we achieve winning?
Well, I saw a television programme last night, Manchester United. Tim Sherwood was in the studio. He said, you see, Jose Mourinho gets the job done and he just wins, and then it doesn't matter. But then later on he said, well, you see, United play in a certain way. Well, what do we have? Let's make our mind up. What is it? Is it okay for South Africa to win at all costs and everybody's happy?
Boring soccer, though.
But if it's boring soccer...
One up front.
No, but I mean, if it's...
South Africans won't be happy with that, though.
Exactly.
We want to see...
Thank you.
...us playing the way we like it,
yeah,
and win, and qualify.
Well, let me tell you, Thomas, the bad news is that when we want the entertainment value to be through the roof, that is not conducive with winning modern football. Not regularly. So we have got to find a balance between the entertaining, express yourself football that we love in this country, with the structure and doing the right things so that even on a bad day we've got a chance of winning. Now, therein lies the challenge. And how much are we prepared to change?
You've said that we need a reorganisation almost of everything, from how SAFA deals with things to even the players.
Yeah.
I mean, I was massively interested in one of the things that you had to say at this talk, which was that players don't really see themselves overseas. South African PSL players don't see themselves wanting to play in Europe.
I think one of the changes that's happened when I was here the first time to this time is that the PSL has grown in stature. The PSL is a better produced league, a better organised league. There's more money available in that league. So a young player that lands in the PSL today is comfortable. And some of the players maybe don't have that drive to kick on and then land in Ajax, Amsterdam or Manchester United. So they're satisfied. Now, you can ask yourself the question then is, well, do we want satisfied players or do we want hungry players? And that's a challenge that we all face. And when I go around the clubs, that's a challenge that we all know we face.
But even when we send and the odd players do get to Europe, they come back.
Yeah.
So as much as you're sending players overseas, a season or two later, they're back.
I'm not saying this is the case, but with a more successful PSL, is there a bit of a safety net there when they go abroad? That if it doesn't work out, I can always go back and it isn't that bad. I'm not saying that is the case, but that could be the case.
Bafana?
Well, it impacts the national team because if you look at a pool of players, how deep it is, how wide it is, and the actual peaks, how many of those peaks do we have? How wide is it? That is why it impacts us, because the pool is not as competitive, let's say that. Now, I think we have interesting players, both in South Africa and playing abroad. We have some talented players. Can we turn those talented players, interesting, into great players?
And you wanted, and still want to use Bafana as a window for these players. You want Bafana to be the window.
I think that if there's a cooperation between the clubs and the association, if we look at it as being a partnership to improve the quality of our football, both in the league and for the national team, I think we have to look at playing for the national team as being the opportunity to kick on. And that could be the difference.
So, if the players get the mindset right, Coach, they go into Bafana, they do well in the Cup of Nations, they get a chance to then go to Europe, and every time they play for that jersey, because that was something that you said was interesting, that you don't think the players are playing for the honour of the jersey anymore.
I have to be careful when I'm talking now, because when I'm talking about the players, I'm not talking about only the players that play in this national team. I'm talking about
in the history
a trend that has grown. Let me say that, a trend that has grown, and during all that period, there'll be players that will say, "Hey, Coach, you're wrong. I was proud to play for my country."
But you're saying there's a culture.
I think it's been more a reward. They've seen it as a reward for their endeavours rather than this is a pure honour. And I think we've got to try and promote that culture of sacrifice and all of those words that you like to associate with wearing a national shirt. I think we need to promote that more. If it needs to be rekindled, we need to rekindle it. If it needs to be transplanted, we need to give it to the ones that don't have it. And I think there are plenty of players that are proud to play for their country. Don't get me wrong, Thomas, but I think in general we need to rekindle that sense of pride, and I think that is an important part of the whole thing.
Whose job is it?
I think it's my job. I think it's the players themselves. You know, we talk about players, well, the coach didn't give me confidence, he didn't motivate me. Well, that's difficult. It's difficult. If the inspiration is not... If I can inspire, but if the basic motivation I want, if it's not there, difficult to so I can't give, but I can try and inspire and fire up, and we can all do that, but they can do it themselves.
We're going to a break. We'll continue with Stuart Baxter after this. Remember the hashtag Ask Baxter. We'll get a couple of your questions in. I'll have a look right now in the ad break as to what you're saying.
Jovic, Yowen, Otatala Nana.
Well, hashtag Ask Baxter is busy on Twitter. So let me get to your questions, and then I'll get one or two of my own in towards the end. Coach, you ready? Rapid fire questions. We'll get them from the viewers at home. Kagiso Boloi says, why is Coach Baxter not calling Ramagalela? Hashtag Ask Baxter.
Everybody has their favourites. When you weighing up who you bring in, you look at their age, you look at their efficiency at the moment, and you look at their projected value to the team. Weighing all that up, even though it's a tough shout at times because he's been doing very well.
Yeah, people say he's top goal scorer in the league.
And I can't argue against that. And all I've got to look at is who do I see being involved over a longer period of time. And I do think he's got a tough one to knock out, because I think Percy Tau is outstanding in the country at the moment.
All right, moving on. So I've got another question here that says, Abdul Jardine says, the problem we have with Bafana is that we cannot keep possession of the ball for 5 minutes, as well as passing the ball to players' feet. Do you think you can rectify this? First of all, is that a problem?
I'm not sure that's a major problem. What I would say is that there's a difference between playing keep ball and possession. Possession is building, waiting to penetrate and not turning the ball over so that they can hit you while you're disorganised. And I think that decision-making and then knowing the difference, I think that we can improve on.
Another question here, and it's Bawezu1 who says, what will you do if you fail to qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations? The hashtag is Ask Baxter.
Yeah, well, I mean, I won't be hanging around, that's certain, because the reason that I came back to the national team was because, one, I thought things would be different in terms of our planning and our ambitions as a football association, and two, was my own personal desire to want to deliver a major tournament to the people of South Africa, because I was the Finnish national coach when I came back and watched how people loved having a major tournament in this country. So that is probably the biggest motivation I have. And if I can't do that, I won't hang around, I'll move. I'll get out and let someone else come in that can.
You'll quit?
Definitely.
If you don't qualify for 2019, Baxter hangs up his whistle?
Definitely. That will be my immediate reaction. And then if people can persuade me to stay, I don't know. But my reaction will be that if I can't deliver that, then I should go.
I'm listening carefully, and you mentioned that SAFA maybe can do more. And in listening to you, you wanted to go to Thailand in terms of preparation for this window. The Four Nations thing came along. It didn't seem like you and SAFA were on the same page.
I'm not sure that's the 100% truth. I think
it's what we get. Like when you read it, it seems Stuart wants to take the team to Thailand.
I certainly wanted to go to Thailand.
We're not going to Thailand.
I certainly wanted to go to Thailand. For various reasons, we didn't go. And one of those reasons was that this other tournament came up, and it was deemed that would be a better target. Now,
will you learn as much?
We all had opinions on that. So I think that the important thing is that, yes, when I'm talking about people have to upgrade what they're doing, I look at our own organisation, and we all know Vision 2022 is because we didn't think we were doing it right before. And it's a fantastic document, and I think implementation and how quickly we can do it, we'll see how quickly do we reach our targets. And are we immune to thinking, well, we can actually do it better? No, we're not, and we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be up in an ivory palace thinking everybody else is wrong.
So you just want more from everybody?
Well, I mean,
everybody needs to give more,
including Stuart Baxter, definitely. I mean, I think everybody should have that attitude. Everybody at SAFA should be saying, how can we do this quicker? And I'm sure they are. But I was just reminding the journalists that, by the way, it's not me looking at everybody else and saying, well, get your act together. It's me as well. And it's the people that I'm working for that are certainly doing that.
Now, you're saying that you're ready to quit if you don't qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations 2019.
I would go even further.
Yeah, but the thing that I want to know is, you're also then saying you're going to risk with the younger players. You're not going to go with the experience. That seems like a huge risk when you're putting your job on the line at the same time.
Of course it's a risk.
Why go with younger players?
Well, I think that's the right thing to do for this country. Is it the right thing to do for Stuart Baxter? No, probably play safe. Play safe. But I'm at the time of my career, Thomas, where playing safe is not really an option, because if I'm going to take the country to a major tournament, then we have got to develop. And we've got to make sure we do the things that we do well more often, and that we put the basics in, and the basics can go in with the youngsters, more and we can form them more than the older experienced players.
The problem, though, is that you don't have time for that, right? You don't have the time to say nurture the youngsters because 2019 is around the corner.
That's right. Well, we've got to, this year is about gelling the players that have been around a bit, have the experience, and will be around in 4 years' time when there's another World Cup, and gel them with the youngsters that are promising, that desperately need that experience of international football if they're going to hang around and be a value later on.
Why not just go with experience now, get to the Cup of Nations, then you've got 3 years to worry with the youngsters to get to the World Cup?
Too late. Too late, honestly. Every World Cup winner, bar one, has been the product of a 6-year cycle. And 3 years is too late. I said this when I was the national coach before the World Cup 2010. I said, when you look at Germany 2006, you've got to use that as a stepping stone so that 2010 on home soil will be the product.
Stuart Baxter, thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for giving South Africa your insights on the plan going forward here on Sport at 10. We're going to a break. After the break, we'll talk to Ste. Generations, the legacy. It is Pearl Bonama coming into the show, and there's a microphone there. What's going on?
Thomas, since everyone is suggesting players for the coach, I'm just suggesting Makala Kalan. Anyways, welcome to Generation, the Sport at 10 versus Ukai Katafi. After the break.
This is Amstel Radler. Amstel Lager, expertly crafted with...
You're an interesting man, Mazwi Morok.
Why, thank you.
Nginkosazana Mazwi. Ngikhuliswe ukuthi ngenze njalo vele.
So we may say to sacrifice the happiness yakho just for the sake of umndeni wakho.
Yes. Nginesiqiniseko sokuthi mina nawe singazakhela impilo enhle kabi.
Pearl Bonama, you place pair on Generations, the legacy. Once I posted today that you were coming on the show, the first question everybody asked was, are you single? So I said I was going to ask that one first.
I'm all my single ladies.
Really? Because you even described yourself, and this is the thing that I didn't understand, where you in interviews describe yourself as very single. What's the difference between single and very single?
Like, I'm all my single ladies.
Yini.
Like, there's like single people, mara kunabantu hidden somewhere. Yeah, me, I'm all my single ladies.
I need an explanation. I need a translation for me, my own. Because people at home are still thinking to themselves, can I pick up the phone and say, do you want to go to coffee? Can they do that?
Okay, yeah, fine.
Okay, guys, the answer is no. Okay, I want a little hesitation. No. But let's talk about the girl from Emalahleni ending up on Generations, the legacy, biggest TV show in South Africa. How? How does that happen?
She studied. She went to drama school at the University of Pretoria. Wafunda. Yeah. She learned...
Because a lot of people come and say, I was just lucky, then I did my thing, ngangena.
Okay, abanye bayangena lokho kuyenzeka vele sonke siyazi. But mina ngifundele. Yeah. I mean...
How many years?
Okay, so I did my degree, 3 years, and then I did my honors, which was a year.
So 4 years studying, you want to be an actor, you get the grounding through the studies.
Yes, sir.
Then
you get an agent, and then agent zokuthumela ama-brief mangithi. Ebese uyazamazama, and then you end up on Generations.
And that happened for you?
Yes, it did. It did.
But it took a long time, right? So you get the role in like February 2016, but we only see you in June, July.
So they just said,
but we're going to write something.
Yeah, so they had an outline.
But I'm sure about I'm on Generations, for 4 months. Oh, why?
Because I like surprises.
Which also brings me to, you actually Afrikaans speaking like from when you were this big?
From crèche, yes.
Kanjan.
So, umamami begasebenza ku retail, and her hours were like crazy. So begachayisa like ngabo 7. And then begune crèche, most of the children ebebafunda lapho abazali babo amanesi. And we all know nurses must 7 at most times. So because her hours were just as crazy, they had an aftercare that ran longer than most aftercares.
So you learned Afrikaans like
from a crèche, yeah.
And then after crèche, then you left, right? While you were speaking.
Yeah. No. So I did.
You went to laer school.
Yes, I was in kleuterschool, laerskool, hoërskool.
In Afrikaans.
Yes.
Sy praat vlot Afrikaans.
Suiwer Afrikaans.
Daai Afrikaans, daai wat uit die boek uitkom.
Pure Afrikaans.
Pure. Okay, this is the cup of the Sport Attain Cup, which you can't have, priceless, but you can have the cakes if you get the questions right. Did you play any sport, Umnand?
No.
You didn't do sport at all?
No, I dance. That's the sport I do.
Break dance?
Afrofusion, contemporary.
Yes. Maybe we must make you Afrofusion. Okay, so what I want to know is, this person I'm going to show on the screen, if you were listening carefully, she did something very special just yesterday. She posted a picture. Or was it earlier today?
I've been
So then what happened? What happened when you geleza? Yes! Caster Semenya graduated.
Yes.
That's done. So you've got that right.
Okay.
Now, in generations, you are in an arranged marriage, right? So I wanted to know, this guy that I'm going to show you next, first of all, name him, and would you go into an arranged marriage with him?
Mr. Tiger. Would I go into an arranged? No.
What?
I wouldn't go into any arranged marriage,
First
Thomas.
athlete in the world to make $1 billion.
So?
Ufunani.
Why?
I-arrange wa song. Connecta la, siyaxanganisa.
No.
So or no, Tiger, no.
No, I wouldn't go into an arranged marriage with him.
Hi. Okay, now let's talk this next guy.
Okay.
Plays rugby. Can you recognize him first of all?
Elton.
That is Elton Yankees.
Yes.
What's his position on the field?
Yo, Thomas.
You don't know?
No, I don't.
Okay, fly half, ne? But I'm going somewhere with this.
That.
I'm going somewhere with this. Because fly halves, there's this one word that I love in Afrikaans. They do a drop kick. What's drop kick in Afrikaans?
Drop kick.
I used to listen to it all the time. Do you want to hear it from me?
The last part
Please
is go.
tell me.
It's skepskop.
Skepskop.
And the commentators in Afrikaans use skitterende skepskop.
Yeah.
I used to love it.
Or a skip
This is so embarrassing because, like, Afrikaans schools rugby is like
Maar
the
die ken nie eens 'n
culture. Maar
skepskop
ek ken nie
nie.
'n skepskop nie. Useless, Thomas. I'm useless.
Yeah. No, you're not. Cupcakes?
Yes, I'm giving her.
You're giving?
Yeah, diga flavor ya pirate, they are jeha. They are made from
Thank
pirates.
you.
Yeah, no,
Alright.
pirates they are jewa when I get day 0. I'm not gonna talk about them too much. They are back to their usual self. Ke ona pirate they reading.
Which one do you support?
Kabuyelo.
Kabuyelo, Pretoria.
Ay, Kabuyelo.
You're from Benoni. What do you know about Pretoria?
Ke badile ko Pitori.
Okay.
Ha ke kene sekolo ko
All
Pitori.
right, thank you. We're going to leave you with the word
Parents,
that we
rest in
leave you
peace.
with every week. If you're not watching Sport at 10, what are you doing?
Losing.